your question. Mrs. Bailey?
I wanted to add something to that.
There's no way we can have a second, I mean, if it does get shot down, is there any way in a meeting we can restructure the question and get a second vote on it? Like, if we go in and we say, okay, we want, I don't know, 30 million for the school and the police station, the town votes it down, can we then turn around and say, okay, can we take a vote just on the school portion?
There is no reason that the school committee would have to make that decision as to whether if it was defeated either at town meeting or the polls. The school committee has some very, very difficult decisions to make at that point as to what direction the school committee is going to go in as far as bringing that school back to the people. And also the discussions that the school committee has had at the last school committee meeting relevant to what if. We have immediate need right now. Every year that building that school is put off, months are critical to us. There are no spaces in the batch. We don't even have to rehash that. We've had some of the discussion with the superintendent at our last meeting as to where are we going to go, what are we going to do. We need information, we need it now. We didn't want to have those conversations prior to town meeting and prior to the summer, but we had to do it. Is it a possibility that the school committee could decide to come back soon? Yes. Because we have a deadline of June 1st to get 64% reimbursement on building that school. After June 1st, that school will fall into new legislation, whatever that may end up being when that finally all falls out at a base rate of 52.9 or 52.8%. And then there's some little add-ons onto that. That school could be reimbursed at 52.8, it could be reimbursed at 62, it might be 60, I don't know what it would be. But the school committee would have some very,
Could we vote then, the next, if it doesn't get passed, what would be the next legal voting time for the school?
Well, there's
it
something
would
else
have to be a special town meeting.
Special town meeting, special election, and my
Special
guess is the time constraints would put you somewhere around January.
There's something else you have to look at, and it's, excuse me, but a little ironic. In our opinions as part of our deliberations, we analyzed what we thought were some of the primary reasons that the school failed a couple times and that the police failed a couple times. And ironically, I believe, and I think several of us believe, you've brought up two of the reasons, not the only ones, maybe not the biggest ones, but two of the important reasons the school has failed in the past. One, early on, there was not a plan for what to do with the badge. And there's a certain segment of the community, I can't tell you if it's 10% or 30%, that aggravates. There's secondly another percentage of the community, as Steve O'Leary alluded to earlier, that says, I don't just want the school, the police station, the this, the that. I want to know what it's going to cost me, people, what you folks are doing over the long term. That is precisely why we didn't do it that way. And there have been discussions, frankly, internally. There have been people that have come to some of our meetings and said just that, split them off. I personally believe, and I think a majority of this committee probably does as well, if we ask them, that splitting it off makes the school actually less likely to pass. And that's, I think, part of the problem we have to face.
There's one consideration that there is a certain group out there also that probably that wants the school to go separately, wants the police station to go separately, because I want the police station or I want the school. I live here too, and public safety is critical. And we are employers. I don't want to see the police, existing in a building such as that. The same as I don't want children in a resource room that was a shower room, in 1950. The police station building committee and the school building committee have never been at each other's throats and have never been pitting each other against each other. And that's part of what is good about this committee. There's no one on this committee that is just fighting for their own. They're fighting for the whole and trying to get it done. As making it as palatable as possible financially to everyone involved in this town. And the bottom line is, we have to do this. We have to take care of the infrastructure of this town, just as people would have to take care of the infrastructure of their home. If we don't do it now, it's going to cost us more later.
One of the things that Trish did allude to, one of the good things that did come out of F.U.M.P, and if you recall, when the police station building committee put forth their proposal and it was defeated at town meeting, I got up at town meeting as a member of the Board of Selectmen and said, you know, if I only have $1 to spend right now, and we're going to be stingy with our money, you know, my dollars have to first go to the schools because we have kids being housed in trailers in the police department, and while they're cramped, they're still at least inside the confines of the building. And that was all part and parcel of a mentality of an us versus them. And one of the things that this particular committee, I think, has done a very good job of bridging that thought process, us versus them, because as Trish said, and I think anybody letter will agree, you know, it has never been internally here on these particular committees and us versus them, other than they both had their focus and they're both out there pushing for it, and the taxpayers are saying, time out, I only have X number of dollars here. But what F.U.M.P has been able to do again is bridge that gap and also create the oneness of being a community and meeting those needs and addressing them in a comprehensive way to say, you know, it isn't just the police station, it isn't just the elementary school, it is the middle school, it is the high school, it is the DPW site, it is the fire department needs, it's every other thing, and here you are, and this is what you're looking for, and now you have it. Now the most cost-effective way of meeting those immediate needs is this particular proposal, and this is how we arrived at it. And so we were trying to avoid the us versus them. We're trying to create an atmosphere of apoliticism here, while we may be political figures in the community, very diverse in our interest as to where we're serving and how we serve the community. But we have this single-mindedness when it comes to meeting the needs of the community as a whole. And that's hopefully what we've achieved here with F.U.M.P, and that's hopefully what we're achieving as far as raising the confidence level of the public when it comes to town meeting in October and again in November. If there's any other pertinent questions in relation to the plan or comments, you know, I think we've pretty much hashed it over, and again, I don't mean to shut anybody off. And Mrs. Dingman?
I just was wondering if the finance committee has voted on this, when it was recommended this or not?
No, we have not. We won't be making our formal vote till the 26th.
Okay. Mr. Pasquale?
I've got a question and a suggestion. I'll start with the question first. There's a dichotomy going on in my head about who's selling this. We start the last F.U.M.P meeting by you addressing the public on the television. We're not here to sell anybody. But we're selling. So the critical precinct in this whole equation, from all my analysis and Jeff Simons, is precinct 3. They didn't even show up when it came to the last school. So I'm asking, what positive, different thing are we doing about advertising and selling this? Because I don't see one iota different. Hold on. You may think it's going on. I think it's great, the publication.
This particular group is very limited as to what we can do.
Right. I know that.
Public information.
I know that. So what I'm saying, it's got to go beyond that. There's got to be some selling. I'm just saying, suggestion. So I identified a precinct that I live in, and I can tell you the truth. Some of the empty nesters are gone, and they said, John, you can face the taxes because you got all the money. That's what they tell me. Number 2, some people haven't changed in precinct. Simons is trying something. I saw he put something in the paper, you know, let's get the school something together. I don't hear anything from the police department. No offense, but I don't hear anybody saying, geez, we need that police station other than this group. You can't do it because you're a member of the F.U.M.P. I hear the school committee on television. God bless you. God bless you. I mean it sincerely, Steve. Even when we're down at church. Who's selling this? Somebody's got to be selling this. Otherwise, you know what the public thinks right now? You people are trying to sell this.
Well, can I do
I'm just telling you.
I know, but
you can do what you want.
I need to make one comment.
There may be an army out there, but I don't see them.
And thank you for the blessing. But every single person in this town who believes that that school and that police station need to be built, need to be out there selling this project. Selling it, getting their next door neighbors. I'm not angry at you. Every single person in this town.
I'm not saying you're angry at me, I'm
No.
glad you always listen to me, one Italian to another, keep moving your
I'm
hands.
Irish.
Well, listen.
My name might be Colella, but I'm Irish.
But my point is, I don't see that.
And you know I have the temper to go with
I
it.
guess what I'm saying, in 2 weeks' time, there ought to be,
Every single person.
there's gotta be more selling. That's
It is
all I'm trying-
everyone's job. It is every taxpayer's job, every resident's job, every resident in this town. It's everyone's job. This is not just our town. This is
I know
everyone's
that.
town, and everybody needs to go out and do it. Nobody can just sit back and say, it'll be my neighbor that goes and votes. It'll be my neighbor that talks to this one. You know, people are saying that no one can afford this. I don't hear anybody standing up publicly, except, you might be right, us, Jeff, his group, saying, these are what the real costs are. So, yes, Mr. Pasquale, you're one of those people that have to go out there and sell it.
I'm doing it on the golf course.
Well, I know you are. Everybody has to go out there.
That's just.
No, that's it. John, I
Maybe more-
appreciate your comments.
My
And
suggestion.
that's fine. And the suggestion as far as selling it. But again, all we can do as a committee and a group
I know.
is what we're doing is putting out the information, hopefully raising the confidence level. People feel as though we have explored every option and this is the most viable one
I didn't say
going
that.
forward. I know.
My second
So,
suggestion
yeah.
is create another slide. Here's what I was thinking in my head.
Address that to Howard. He's the slab.
I'm writing,
Could you write this down?
I'm writing.
Howie, unbeknownst to you, but other people know that I have a lot of contacts in this town. I've been through the bachelor school several times. And I said, what if I wanted to buy this something myself? Here's the slide. Here's what we face. Now, the roof's got the leaks, but the leaks emanate from the slate. So to find the leaks, we gotta take all the slate off the building. Okay? Hear me? There's no tar paper under there, we might have to find wood, so we gotta replace the slate. All the electric wire in that whole building doesn't meet any code, and the fact of the matter is, we can't run computers, we can't run anything new with the electric, so all the electric's gotta come out. The plumbing, we don't even have enough pressure. By the way, we have to come in the principal for getting the second woman's toilet in that thing, okay? So all the plumbing's gotta come out. I'm serious about that, that was a disgrace. 35 women in there, one toilet, never mind what the gentleman was talking about the kids. It's steam condensation system. That was steam, which means you've got condensate pipes running throughout that are rotten under the concrete. All of the facial, all this great facade in the front of the bachelor, the word is spalling. All the concrete is crumbling, so what they're doing is patching it. So we would have to rip it all out. Then we got a river coming down from Hilltop that we never addressed. The river comes through our building. I'm not lying, it's where the hell the water runs. So that has to all be fixed, which means big drainage, etc. Then we get down into the floor. I don't need a crowbar, I know what termites are. But if they're there, we gotta rip it. We gotta gut everything out, including taking the slate off there. Then I say to myself, if I'm a business guy, where am I gonna park the cars? How much money am I gonna sink into this for a return? So I guess what I'm saying on the slide, you ought to listen. This is what we're facing if we wanna retain it, never mind the cost. People are looking at the slides, they're just saying, oh, what are we gonna do with the batch? It's gonna cost us money. And somebody else, believe me, if I was a businessman.
Would you like to make us an offer?
No, because I'd have to deal with the historic commission. No, really. I'd have to build everything to what they want, spec, and I couldn't afford it. I'd have to put up a $15 million facility.
Only what's visible from the outside, that's not.
I'm just saying, we have to be, people have to, that's my slide.
We appreciate this. We appreciate the comment. Okay. Again, if there's no more questions or additional questions you may have, what I'd like to do is conclude the meeting. Again, thank you all for coming out and showing an interest. Hopefully we'll see you at October town meeting. Those of you who will be viewing this at home, again, we hope that you found this to be informative. We hope that it answers a lot of the questions that you may have to the point where you might come out and vote more intelligently on the issue, and then come to the town meeting and again vote in the November election. And again, October 2nd is the town meeting at 7 p.m. It's a Monday evening. And again, I want to thank you very much. Have a good evening.